Good morning, and welcome to Morning Cereal. Okay, good morning, and welcome to Monday. Well, you've made it through hopefully what was a restful weekend for you, and now it's time to tackle a new week ahead of us. But maybe first, let's just start with a coffee. Well, it's May 19th, and the calendar is serving up what I might suggest is a delightful mix of observances. Today is National Devil Foods Cake Day. And I guess that's the opposite of angel food cake. That was my late grandfather's favorite, and it's one of mine too. Well, it's also National May Ray Day. National May Ray Day. And it's not just fun to say, it's encouraging everyone to step outside, soak up that spring sunshine on a Monday morning. And for those of you who appreciate the unsung heroes of the music world, it's National Roadie Day, honoring the hardworking individuals who keep the show on the road. Well, moving on to our quote of the day, it's from Michael Shea. And Michael Shea isn't exactly known for his hallmark style inspiration, but here's a quote from him that, while delivered with humor, carries a deeper truth that those of us looking for some inspiration can appreciate. Here it is. Michael Shea said, quote, "If you're not failing, you're not trying. And if you're not trying, what are you doing?" End quote. Well, I know it's a bit cheeky, but the message sticks, right? Growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It's a solid Monday mantra. Push forward, mess up a little, but keep moving forward. All right. Well, today's news, facts, and birthdays are for May 19th. And over the weekend, in 1980, this is the weekend that Mount St. Helens in Washington state erupted. Then moving on to 1962, on this date, Marilyn Monroe, she performed her iconic rendition of Happy Birthday to President John F. Kennedy at Madison Square Garden. And then finally on this date in 2018, this is the date that Prince Harry married Meghan Markle in a ceremony at St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. All right, here's the top story from over the weekend, something that we should all be aware of. Wall Street Journal reported that Moody's downgraded the U.S. credit rating amid tariff concerns. So Moody's Investor Services downgraded the U.S. credit rating, citing concerns over the economic impact of all these newly imposed tariffs and the continued deficit spending. I wish I could go into this much deeper because this is a big deal and a major change from historical U.S. debt ratings. Well, let's move on to birthdays. Happy birthday to you if today is your birthday. These two birthdays took place over the weekend. Comedian and writer known for her work on Saturday Night Live and 30 Rock, Tina Fey, she's 55. And country singer George Strait, he turned 73. Then birthdays for this day include YouTube personality, singer, and just all-around kind of crazy person, JoJo Siwa, she's 22 today. Then DJ and electronic music producer, and also, by the way, a traditional Halloween costume in my household, Marshmello, he's 33 today. Then Grammy-winning pop singer Sam Smith, he's 33 today. Then comedian and co-anchor of Saturday Night Live's Weekend Update, Michael Shea, he's 41 today. And then the last one, Hall of Fame basketball player, renowned for his intensity and his versatility on the court. He came straight out of high school, Kevin Garnett. He's 48. Well, the number one song on this date back in 1987 was With or Without You by U2. Now, the song With or Without You was written during a rough patch in Bono's personal life. He was torn between the demands of fame and the stability of his marriage, apparently. And it's a tension that inspired the song's emotionally conflicted lyrics, right? At one point, Bono didn't even think the song was good enough to release, but producers pushed for it. And it became U2's first number one hit on the Billboard Hot 100. And it stayed there for 3 weeks in 1987. And despite, or maybe because of, its raw vulnerability, it's now considered one of the greatest rock ballads of all time, even earning a spot on Rolling Stone's list of the 500 greatest songs. Well, continuing our walk through the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey, today we are unpacking the subchapter, Making and Keeping Commitments, and one of the more quietly powerful concepts in part 2 of chapter 1. This section challenges us to examine not just what we promise, but what those promises actually mean in shaping our character. And Covey starts by emphasizing the deep relationship between personal integrity and habit building. right? He writes, quote, "Integrity is the value we place on ourselves," end quote. In other words, every commitment we make, especially the small, easy to break ones, is a mirror of how much we trust ourselves. Most of us are pretty good at keeping our word to others, but Covey turns the focus inward. Do you keep promises to yourself? He argues that personal development is rooted not in sudden transformation, but in a steady accumulation of self-trust. Every time we make and keep a commitment, even something as small as waking up on time or finishing the project that we said we'd finish, we make a deposit into what Covey calls our personal integrity account. And these small deposits build credibility, both internally and with others. But on the flip side, breaking commitments, especially repeatedly, begins to erode not just how others see us, but how we see ourselves. Covey doesn't shy away from the consequences, stating, quote, "If you start to think that you're not dependable, you will begin to act that way. You will fail to make commitments, or you'll make them casually with no real intent to follow through," end quote. So how do we break this cycle? Covey offers a practical solution here. He says, start small. Make realistic commitments, ones you know you can keep. This builds momentum. Then, as your confidence grows, so can your commitments. And Covey also emphasizes the importance of awareness. Don't say yes to just please others or out of guilt. A false promise is worse than a delayed maybe, right? Instead, act deliberately. Keep your word and course correct when needed. Here's the takeaway. Integrity isn't built overnight. It's built moment by moment, commitment by commitment. If you want to feel more confident, more capable, and more grounded, start by being someone you can count on. Because once you believe your own words, others will too. All right, that's your Monday morning cereal, a bowl of history, news, nostalgia, some inspiration. And let me just thank you for starting your week with us. Join us again tomorrow for more insights and stories to kickstart your day. And don't forget, have a fantastic day. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Morning Cereal podcast on the One Life Live It channel. You can find more episodes and videos by visiting our YouTube channel and the website at Sean Inglis and at SeanInglis.com, where you can also follow our other podcasts, the Mr. and Mrs. Inglis podcast and the Life Happens podcast. In these other podcasts, we'll dive deeper into everyday issues, self-improvement and well-being, business and finance, and we welcome special guests too. So join us. It'll be a good time, I promise. Thanks again for listening. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you tomorrow.